Hello everyone, Ceri the Craft here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm here with a bit of a problem solve, all inspired by a video by my friend Darcy Sanders, which I saw last week. Okay, the problem I've got, let's go over the problem first of all. I store my stencils in these ring binders. If you want to know how I did the panels for these, I will share with you a link in the video where I did them. And I keep my stencils in these. Now I have three ring binders. One is for PM Artist Studio stencils designed by PM Artist Studio or other designers in their stable of designers. One of these has actually got stencils I very rarely use actually by other third-party people, and they were before I started designing my own stencils for PM Artist Studio. And then I have one ring binder which is a lot thicker than this, I can tell you, of the stencils I've designed myself. Now the problem is this isn't all of the stencils. These have all been taken out of it already because all of these are 5x7s. The problem is I'm now collecting so many stencils that I need to either get another ring binder, which I don't want to do because I don't have the shelf space for it, or I need to come up with a solution. And last week when I was watching Darcy Sanders' video, and I will do my best to link it below, if not the original video, then at least the one it generated. And in that video, Darcy happened to bring into shot an accordion or a concertina, no, an accordion folder that she'd made for all of her Tim Holtz stencils, the tall, slim ones. And I immediately went, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. So I messaged Darcy and said, Darcy, have you got a tutorial on how you made that? Apparently Darcy made it in the live and she couldn't find the live, and I never saw the live. For some unknown reason, I never saw the live because I always watch Darcy's videos. She said, I will do a bit of a tutorial. So in the follow-up video, which is probably the one I'm going to find, she actually flipped through, showed how it was made, showed some options, and then, bless her little heart, Darcy threw down that gauntlet and said, I'm sure Ceri will do a much better job of the video. So of course, here I am. I now have to do a video. I don't have to. I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make one of those accordion folds using bits and pieces that I've taken from Darcy's video, and I'm going to make it for all of my 5x7s stencils. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make small accordion ones, and I'm going to start having them as per designers. So, because I always like to give credit where credit's due, and a lot of the designs that I've got are from the same people anyway, so I'll start that. So anyway, I digress. What do I need to think about first of all? So I'm going to do an end-to-end. There's going to be a few breaks in this because I'm going to use 5 12x12 backgrounds to actually create the folio. However, I'm only going to show you one page, then I'm going to pause the video and then make another 4, and then you get what I mean. I don't want you to see repeated processes. So let me just grab one of these. Okay, so this came last week actually, I think. Now, do not assume just because it says it's a 5x7 stencil that this is a 5x7 stencil. It isn't. The image or the aperture is 5x7. Now, let's go get a ruler on this. So as you can see, the stencil itself is 5x7. Now, when I received this, the stencil was 6 inches wide by 8 inches tall. I always cut mine down to, by 9 inches tall, sorry. I always cut mine down to 8 because I like the same width border all the way around. So that's 7 plus the half and half, which makes 8, and then the half I cut off top and bottom make 9. So their stencils are 9 inches tall, and I wanted it to be 8 inches tall. So all of my stencils are already cut down to that size, or anything that fits within a 5x7 criteria. So that's what I'm working with. Now, what am I going to be making this out of? Okay, I have this folder, this 12x12 pad by Sarah Davis, which is Crafter's Companion here in the UK. It's an okay pad. I mean, I want to hold this up so you can actually see any of the details that you're going to ask me, what size, what the dimensions, what weight. That's as much as I know about this pad. I wasn't overly keen on this pad. It wasn't my style. It just, I don't know, it didn't 100% work for me. It's been sat in my drawer, so I thought, right. So I pulled out 5 pages of it. Let's get rid of this. And these are the 5 pages, and they're double-sided, although one is relatively plain and one is patterned. So there's 1, plain on the back, 2, plain on the back, 3, plain on the back, 4, plain on the back, 5, plain on the back. Doesn't matter to me whether they've got plain back or pattern back. I mean, this is meant to be for storage. So I'm going to go through the process of how I'm going to build this. There is one more thing I've got to, is I've got 2 of these, and I'm absolutely certain these are from Stamperia. They must be pages I pulled out of something. Probably, looking at this, I'd probably say it was a rose type of 12 by 12 pad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cover for the front and the back, just to give this a bit more stability as time goes on. So anyway, I will talk more about that when I get to it. So first of all, what I need to do is start working with dimensions and cutting this down. So bringing in my trusty guillotine. Now, I'm going to give you the measurements that I'm doing for my 5 by 7 stencils, which, as we've said, are actually 6 by 8 once I've trimmed them down. If you're going to do this process and make one of these, just make sure I always gave myself ½ an inch either side of the width of my stencil once it had been trimmed, just for a bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to come in, and what I want to do is I want to cut this down to 7½ inches wide. Now I'm going to turn it this way to try and see whether I can preserve the writing. I can't, so I'm not going to bother about trying to preserve the writing at all. So not on this page anyway. So I'm trimming this. It's 7½ by 12. Keep these, because these are going to become pockets on the other side. So again, 7½. Actually, I need to cut this one because it got jammed when I was pulling it out of the pad. 7½. And 7½. Now you can make as many as you want page-wise. I'm going to do it as 5 pages, which will then give me slots for 8 of the, just cut that side off, for 8 of the stencils, because I doubt I have 8 5 by 7s of any one design. Right, this can go for a little sleep. I'll put these to one side because we will need them later. Yes, I doubt whether I have more than 8 of any one designer, and if I do, I can double up some of them into some of the slots. So this is where I'm at. Just make sure I've got them all the right way up. It's kind of important for the next stage that if you've got anything like this, for example, that's got writing on it, we're about to score down one side and score across the bottom. The bottom is going to become a fold-up pocket. If I score it the wrong way around, then my main page is going to be upside down. So just be aware of that. So, right, let's pull in my scoreboard. I'm going to do one of these now, and then after I've done the first one and shown you what I'm going to do with it, then by all means I'm going to pause, finish the other 4. You don't need to see it repeated, repeat. Right, I'm going to come in. This is the 7½ measurement. I'm going to score down this one side ½ an inch. Then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and this is the orientation, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to score at 3½. Okay, so that's 7½ by 12. I've scored at half, given it a quarter turn, and scored at 3½. That means the height of this will end up as 8.5 inches, and I know my stencils are no more than 8. That gives me just a little bit of protection at the top, and where I glue the pockets down, if I've gone a bit awry with the glue, then at least if it doesn't go all the way in, I've still got a bit at the top. So let's just take that out of the way a second. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm going to come in. Now, where there's a valley, and by a valley, I mean I pressed into this, I'm going to make that valley into a mountain. This is just the way I learned to do it. I know it sounds a bit weird to some people, but that's just the way it works for me. Okay, so the valley has become a mountain. This valley, again, will become a mountain. I try and line up there just to make sure that I've got everything lined up, and that's not my OCD coming into play. That's just the case that if I do it here and at every stage, then my accordion book will not have a problem at the end. Right, just going to take a pair of scissors. Now this fold line here, can you see it? I'm going to cut a slight angle here. So I'm just going to take a slight angle. I don't want it to be too big because remember there's only 1/2 inch wiggle room either side. This one, however, I can just cut straight across. And I'm going to remove this piece. There you go. And then on this side, the opposite side of the pocket, I'm again going to take a thin slither off. And it's not very big. As you can see, it's only that much of a slither taken away from it. Now, the reason I've done that is because when these fold up, I won't then have a problem here of it binding in the hinge. Okay, you can also see that both of those are no more than 1/2 inch, which means that when I've got my piece in here, which is 6 inches, I've still got more than enough to get my stencil inside. So that's going to be my process for all of them. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video now and I'm going to get this far and then I will come back to you. So here we are back again. They're all done. Now, just if anyone wants to skip ahead to the end, just know that they're going to be attached here at the flap, and I'm going to leave a really small gap down there so that it doesn't bind over there. And then we're going to fold these up either frontwards or backwards. If you're watching the whole video, you'll see that, but please feel free to jump ahead if that's the way you normally watch videos. So I've done that much to them now because I want these to have a bit of longevity, in that I don't really know how long the strength of this pad is going to last. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just reinforce it a little bit by using some washi. And I pulled out this washi that's pretty much in the same style. So I'm just going to cut the flat end off there. And what I'm going to do, because I don't trust washi, I'm going to use my glue stick and I'm going to stick the washi down. So I've got a magazine as a part of a glue book for me. I don't mind just tearing the top. So my aim is I'm going to line the washi up with the edge there. This washi is about 3/4 inch wide, so it means then there'll be a thin edge over here. I don't mind that. It's just to give it a little bit more robustness, if there is such a word as that. Right. So I'm just going to take my squared off end, which I will match to there. I'm going to come in. It's a little bit tricky doing this, not looking at it directly. So let me just do it up, run my finger along there. I'm just going to run my bone folder along there as well, just to make sure it's fully in contact and I've got no bubbles of ink or anything. And then see this area here? I'm just going to cut that flush. Now, I would say that because I'm using a glue stick, this is going to take a few minutes to dry before I re-establish that fold. So I'm not going to establish the fold just yet. I'm going to do all of these and just leave them as they are until this is dried. So bear with me. It's another 2 seconds for you. It'll be probably about 2 or 3 minutes for me. So here we are. While I was waiting for the washi tape to dry, I did do a little bit of extra work, which I'll talk you through in a minute. So these are all now dry, and I've just folded them over, and I came in and I gave them another bone fold just to make sure that it's secure. I don't see the need to put washi on the inside. I mean, this is just a cautionary note. If your cardstock is heavier than this, you probably don't even need to do that. That was just me wanting, maybe it's my anxiety kicking in. So, right, so I've got all of these ready to go, which we will do in a moment. Right, what I did in the time being, you know, those strips we had the excess cut off, well, I cut the strips down to 3.5 because that's the height of the pocket. So I ended up with spare strips. Those would be good for use on edge of pages or maybe parts of clusters. I then cut the 7-inch pockets, and I still did a tiny little angle sliver. So these are the 7-inch pockets that I've made for this. I know that I think 2 of them are not going to be used because, of course, there's going to be a front and back cover. So I'm going to put these to one side, and then there was a little bit of waste on there, and I'm just going to put these to one side. Then these can be used as journal tags or journal cards later, be decorated up on. They're already ready to write on the back. Even if I didn't want to use the front images, I could collage onto them. So no waste there, I feel. So let's just get on with this now. Now, the process for gluing is a pretty simple process, but I would recommend being quite methodical with it. Now, I'm not sure whether I've got one that I really want to say should be the front or the back. Do you mean I'm not bothered? There's going to be a cover, but if there's one that I think is particularly not up for the game, or not something I really want to look at too often, I can choose as the beginning. Maybe this one. That's not really my taste. So I'm going to turn this over. No, I do need to turn this over this way. Right. These need to be attached to each other. Okay, and by that I mean this needs to be attached over here. You've got it? So that is actually then going to become the hinge. Now, the way I'm choosing to do this is it's important that the top edges line up for me. And then I'm going to come in just, can you see that? Just that side of the fold. Probably, let me just zoom in. We know I don't like zooming in, but I'll zoom in for a second. That was a very wiggly zoom in. Okay, so see there's a bit of a gap there. So zoom back out again now because I can't be doing without zoom in. Right. Now, my method of this is I've got it lined up at the top. Now, if it's perfectly lined up at the end of the day, I'm happy. If it's not perfectly lined up at the end of the day, I'm not upset. It is what it is. So I'm going to use art glitter glue for this purely because for me, it's a quick grab. So I'll make sure that is straight at the top. It should be. Right. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put a line of glue down this edge. And I'm going to put a line of glue down this edge. It'd be nice if it was on the edge. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a squiggly line here, but I don't want to go all the way to the join because otherwise I'll glue the page shut. I'm just going to press this down, push it down for a second. Now, I'm using art glitter glue. Glitter glue? What sort of language is that, Griffiths? I'm doing art glitter glue purely because it grips really quickly for the video. If you were to do this wanting to use any other glue, you could. I mean, I would not recommend using double-sided tape because over time double-sided tape sort of loses its sticky. You could use PVA glue, you could use any other glue that you think is suitable. Right, you will also note that I haven't glued the pockets up yet. That was intentional, don't worry about it. There's a reason for it. Right, so I'm going to come in now, I'm going to repeat this process all the way across till I've got them all stuck together. So remember, I'm going to come to the top, make sure the top is lined up. I'm going to do this one more time, and then what I'll do is I'll pause the video and finish up the rest of them. So as you can see, doing the edge and edge. How much short I am. I do a little bit of a squiggle. A little bit there as well. Fold this over, give it a run with my thumb, just to make sure it's fully in contact. I like to use a bone folder as well. It just squishes the glue out and makes sure it's fully in contact for me. And this isn't a gift for anyone, this is for me. I'd like to be as good as it can be, but I'm also not going to be picky about it. Right, so we've now got this. So this is going to start folding in this manner eventually. So I'm going to pause the video now and I'm going to get all of the rest of these stuck on. Okay, so here we are all glued together. Now I know through all of the years I've been doing arts and crafts with the supplies that I've got, that no matter how good I am at lining things up, my guillotine may not have cut straight. Things may have moved. My trimmer may have swerved to one side when I've used it. My guillotine blade may have made my paper shift as it pulled down. So I have learned to let go of those tiny little things, knowing that I will never perfectly line anything up, because unless I cut it with a knife and a metal blade, or I cut it with the scissors, and even then, you know, it's not about perfectionism in this one. Now, there is a spare edge on here which I'm now going to cut off. I left it on there. I didn't cut it off in the first place purely because I never knew which was going to be my front. You could just keep adding infinitum to the accordion if you wish. I'm just going to slice this off here, because effectively this is my back page. Right, that can go somewhere. That's a useful strip. So this is the guts of our accordion. Okay, so we're getting to the point where I'm thinking, right, what ones do I want where? Now I can fold either direction. I'm just trying to see which ones. That's fine, because that was the one I wanted for the front. Now is the reason why we haven't glued up any of these pieces yet, and that is because some of them have writing on them. If they have writing on them and I glue them up, I'm going to end up with it upside down. Does it bother me? Not hugely. However, it may bother someone else. Now, it's not going to bother me here. I'm just going to glue these up. But if it did bother me, let's choose another one, because the front cover is a bad example. Right, that one would work. That one's got a perfume bottle on it, so if I turned it this way and folded that way up, then it wouldn't be seen. Do you see what I mean? So, sorry, that was way off shot. So if I folded up that way, you wouldn't see the perfume bottle. Those sort of things are not bothering me, and there's a reason for that. It's because when it comes to the finished pocket, let me just glue this one. Just go glue down the edges, a thin line of art glitter glue, or whichever glue you're using. Let's fold that one up, give it a bit of a press with my fingers. A little bit too much glue there, Griffiths. That's usually what I do. Right, give that another bit of a bone fold there. As I said, I like to run my bone folder up the sides. So this pocket here, I fully intend cutting the label off here and using that on there somewhere to tell me which one is in there. Okay, so that's why I'm not overly bothered, because I could even put the PM logo here or something. I will decorate these up, or as this is Rhonda, I might cut that piece off and put that there and put the name there. It could be that this becomes a mixed one. It may not just be for one designer. So I have options. I can always decorate pockets. If there's one thing I can do, it's decorate a pocket. So let's quickly put these on. Now I'm not going to fast forward this, guys, and I'm not going to pause you, because this shouldn't take me long to do. And then we'll put the other pockets on, and then I will explain to you what I'm going to do with the front and back covers, and then I'm going to make them and then come back with them in place. And then we can have a flip through and see what this actually looks like. So thank you, Darcy, for the inspiration. Thank you for the challenge. I will put a link to Darcy's video underneath, as I said. It'll be in the description box below. Please pop across and have a look at Darcy's channel. It's Darcy's Misadventures in Mixed Media. She loves to experiment. She loves to do things you wouldn't actually think of doing sometimes. I do like what she produces. I like her ability to experiment. If anything, I'd say Darcy, oh, why does that not look as trimmed? Was it trimmed? Oh, it was trimmed. Darcy is probably the exact opposite to me, where I have to have everything absolutely clutter-free, organised, lined up, all of that. Darcy is quite proud to be known as a chaotic crafter. And I have no judgment on that whatsoever. You do whatever works best for you as an artist. And Darcy works fabulously in sometimes the chaos that is surrounding her. I look at that and go, that would make me shut down. She is brilliant. She can just go through anything. Right, so we've done one side. I'm now going to come in. Now I have the option on this side, whereas this side has plain and patterned. I could come into here. I could do pattern, but I could also just come in and do plain, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, so actually you don't need to watch this bit, do you? Right, I'm going to go through and do all these pockets in. Then I'm going to get myself a cereal box, one cereal box, thanks to my sister, and I'm going to cut myself 2 panels, and the panels are going to be 7 inches by 8.5. So 7 inches wide. They're going to be, let's flip that back. They're going to be this dimension. So as you can see, we ended up with panels that are 7 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. Did I? Yes, I did. 8.5 inches tall. So I'm going to cut 2 panels that size. I'm then going to cover them with this paper, and then I'm going to stick them front and back. And I'm just going to use glue to stick them on the front and back to make it more robust. And then I'll be back, because I don't need to show you how to cut card, and I certainly don't need to show you how to cover it with a piece of card. So back in 2 seconds for you guys. I'm going to get as far as I can with all of this, and then we'll see whether my measurements work and see whether I can get the stencils in the holder. So here I'm back, it's all done. I've got the cereal box cover on it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets there. Turn it over to the other side, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets there. So that's 8 pockets in this little folio. You could make it any size you choose. Now, is it perfect? No, it isn't perfect. Did I expect it to be perfect? No, I certainly didn't. But you know what? It's perfect for what I've made it for, and I'm loving it. Right. I did have a route through my ephemera, and I found these 2 big journal cards, and I thought, you know what, I really want to decorate this up because it's going on my shelf, and I love anything in my room that's on display. It's on display because it pleases me, and it endorses my thoughts that yes, I can do it. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say to anyone. However, my anxiety keeps telling me I can't do stuff. Well, if I keep looking around and my art is on the walls and it looks really good, which I believe this does, then my anxiety can go and take a break, because that's flipping gorgeous as far as I'm concerned. So that's the front. Let's put this one on the back because it's got undertones of pink on it. No, there is not a video of me making these journal cards. I would say, looking at these, they were probably made from a masterboard which was cut up and then extra pieces put onto it, just in the style that I kind of like anyway, or the kind of style I tend to gravitate to. So let's pop that on there, that on there. So now I've got something really nice to store stuff in, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make these portfolios for a specific designer. What I'm going to do is, each time I get a design by one of the other designers that's a 5x7, I'm going to put it in here. So the process is going to be, because we've been playing with this one as we go along, this was the Fleur de Lis 5x7 by Rhonda Donar. no. Sorry, I get that wrong every single time. So if I open this up, test this. Does it fit? It certainly does. And it's nice and snug. The pocket is tall enough that it's not going to flop around in there and catch it. But I want to see about putting this information on here. So let's just get my big old scissors on the go and just cut out the information I need. I'm a great believer in giving credit where credit is due when I use anything. So being able to refer to both the name and the designer of the product is important to me. So this can go into the scrap drawer. Actually, I might use it to glue upon. So let's get my little guillotine out, because goodness knows I like things to be squared off. Yeah, I know, it's me. So a little bit of a chop down. Now I could come in with a tear ruler, but to be honest, that would probably push me over the edge. Not today. Right, so that's good. That can go on there. The fleur-de-lis can just be on there as well. Now, I'm not going to try and make every single page look identical with these, because some of the stencil names will be longer, some of the stencil names will be shorter. Do you get what I mean? And I can get really tied up in doing that sort of stuff. So let's just move those to one side. Those will go on there. Yeah, I think I want something behind them because they're looking a bit faded into the background. Let me just have a quick grab and see if I can find anything in here that's going to work. Actually, that'll work because that'll pull that down from there. I like my stuff to look pretty. Ooh, just a little bit too tall. And I will work my way through and do this with all of these, because why not? So hopefully you found this interesting. Obviously you can adapt this process for whatever dimensions of the things you wish to put in there. I mean, it could be that you want to store postcards in them. Could be that I probably wouldn't store ATCs in these, actually. It'd be a bit fiddly to make this as an ATC folder. So where's my store card, just so I can smooth this out a bit. Yeah, you could use it for many things. I haven't really thought about that, to be honest. Now, do I want to go around these with brown? Yes, I do. Let's make them stand out, because Rhonda, it's important that I know who you are. Just catching the edge there. Am I in shot? I am now. Just catching the edge with a little bit of Distress Ink Vintage Photo, which is the one I sort of migrate to. Although I do think I'm going to, when this ink pad runs out, which is going to be a long while yet, I might invest in, I think there's an archival version of this, because I use this so often, but I'm very wary of using it on something I'm going to use a medium on top of, because if I use a medium on top of it, of course, because it's water reactive, I could end up moving it around to places maybe I didn't want to move it to. Right. Let's pop that by there. Now, I could go to town and decorate this with labels and butterflies and all of that, but I need to pull back a bit and go, you know what? It's just storage. Yeah, you heard it here, folks. I decided not to overly decorate something. Okay, I'm happy with that. There you go. I'm pleased with that. In fact, I'm more than pleased with that. I'm very happy with that. Darcy, thank you very much for the inspiration. I'm happy with that. That'll look lovely on my shelf. Looking at this, I could have put washi on the other edges just to make them look the same as this, but then I thought, you know what, why am I worrying about that? I can go in afterwards if I choose to, but I'm not sure I'm going to. So there's the front cover. there's the back cover, or this could be the front cover, and that could be the back cover. Out of choice, that's my front. That's my first entry into this. I can now spend the afternoon doing the rest of them, and as soon as this is full, I can make another one. So I know that when I'm looking for 5x7s, just pull that off the shelf. I am more than happy with that. Thank you again, Darcy. And Rhonda, there you go, girl. You're the first one in the folio. So I think it's that time of day, isn't it? It's time to say goodbye. So I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.